per hour streamed, Netflix charges 4 times as much as Spotify does if you look at overall hour stream per the content that's there. So that's just another indication. And yes, Spotify and others have raised prices, but we just saw Netflix continue to raise its prices as well after the most recent strike ended in Hollywood there. So those trends are likely, it seems like, continuing, but how can they address the superfan? I think one of the things we talked about in the report is there are platforms that are clearly growing and trying to do this independently, whether they're helping and working directly with the rights holders to do it. The DSPs are trying to do this themselves. And there's also new startups that are trying to do this as well. But I know, given your work, this is right at your alley in terms of how companies can better think about this.
Yeah, first of all, that monetization is a bit of a scandal when you look at it from a passion point of view. Almost everybody on the planet says music's important to them or is a passion of theirs, almost everybody. And we've surveyed millions, literally millions of people over the years to ask this question. And the percentage of people who say the same thing about movies or TV or even about sports is much, much, much lower. So music is the most loved, most passionate form of entertainment of them all. That is a fact, always has been, or forever. We've been researching it. And so it is a scandal that that's under-monetized. And then, yeah, if you think about fans, we like to de-average audiences. So let's take a bunch of people who don't care very much and aren't willing to spend very much, a bunch of people who are willing to spend about $9.99 and do care, and then a bunch of super fans. What streaming did was to take the bottom two and to serve them very, very well. It said, hey, don't bother with piracy. There's free options here. It's fine, which we'll monetize with ads. Or, hey, upgrade to $9.99 maybe. So that all worked pretty well at the bottom end and the middle. But all the people who were super fans said, only $9.99? Excellent. And they reduced their spend to $9.99, and we lost that value in the market. So the question is, how do we get it back? Like, how do we get them to spend at a level that matches their passion and that matches their willingness to spend as well? And while they've been out buying vinyl sometimes maybe, or like incredibly expensive concert tickets maybe, how do we I think of vinyl as being merch in that sense. How do we get them from that money from merch or from live that they're willing to spend? And why don't we get recorded music willingness to spend up as well and give them recorded music related things that match their needs, whether it's like exclusives behind the scenes, whether it's alternates and B-takes, whether it's, involvement or engagement with the artist around the recording process, whatever it is. But how do we get those extra like things that they're willing to pay for, and how do we monetize that as part of the streaming services?
Right. And I think at the end of the day, what fans want, they want something that offers them a feeling of identity. They want something that offers them a form of self-expression, because it's rarely about the individual t-shirt. It's about the feeling behind the t-shirt. It's not just about spending 3 hours watching live music. It's about the feeling and the memories and what it created and the opportunity to be able to identify with that. How do you create that on these digital platforms? For years, so many of them have been reticent to offer anything on a platform that may deter you from actively streaming music, because that's what they're trying to have you do. Some of the more niche DSPs have been a bit more flexible in offering some of those things, but that's what's been there. But I do think we're seeing more of the tide shifting, because people do see the opportunity, and it's a power law game and everyone else captures that. And the thing is, if you're working solely in the recorded music side, you see live capturing the upper tier of that demand curve of who's the most interested. You're also seeing vinyl and merch, while the recorded music side does have a bit more take in that to be able to help capture that. Well, definitely on the vinyl side, what are those additional things? And I do think there's a fine line that needs to be looked at in terms of wanting to serve these fans and providing something to them that they actually want, versus treating them like an ATM machine, because I think that sometimes can be the difficult place there. Super fans, everyone, the eyes open up and the dollar signs of opportunity come through. But how do you do it in a way where you don't have fans complaining about your service the same way that they complain about other music related experiences and things like that?
And I think that's where you got to start with the fan and really understand, like, what is it that they want. And I have another great example from many moons ago, working in the music industry. I probably better not name the band, but one of the biggest bands in the world that ever has been, household name band. And we showed them this group of their audience who really wanted like a super deluxe, like physical, scarce, limited edition box sets. The band had never done that. They'd never really invested in that high end. And I never forget the manager saying to me, we always wanted to, but we thought we'd be ripping off the fans. You're telling me that's what they want, and therefore we're letting them down by not doing it? Great, let's do it. Win-win for everybody. So don't treat fans as an ATM, but at the same time, some of them really, really want those, like, in that case, scarce physical limited edition boxes. In some cases, access before anybody else. In some cases, remix and outtakes. Different fans have different wants and needs, but you got to understand, who are my fans? What do they want? And how do I give it to them?